Now I have a special treat for you. Just the kind of inspiration you might need to help you get started on achieving your best year ever. You are now going to hear a short clip from my mentor and the man who is considered America's foremost business philosopher, Mr. Jim Rohn. In fact, Jim and I are working on a new program focused on getting America back to work. When I say we, I mean our success team and the great Jim Rohn archive. Stay tuned for that. But now, enjoy this specially selected clip that's just for you and just for helping you launch into the exciting year ahead. Here's Jim.
Here's number one. In fact, we might all agree on number one of the 5 major pieces to the life puzzle. Number one is philosophy. Philosophy. Our ability to establish a philosophy by using our mind, the ability to think, to process ideas and information. What an important function this is. Using the mind, the ability to think, process ideas and information, and establish our philosophy. Our philosophy that dictates our dreams for the future, objectives and purposes and goals, and a reasonable plan to get there in a reasonable amount of time. That's our philosophy. And this is what establishes our philosophy. And here's what's unique. Only human beings can do this. Only human beings can establish a philosophy. Reorder your life anytime you want to. Other life forms can't do it. Only human beings. A goose can only fly what direction in the winter? South. How come a goose has to go south in the winter? Because he's a goose. Can't go north, can't go any other direction. Driven by what? Instinct and the genetic code. But see, that's not true of human beings. We're not just driven by instinct and the genetic code. Human beings can go north in the winter. We can go south, we can go east, we can go west. We can do anything we want to. We can tear up an old life script the last 5 years and design a whole new 5 years. Only human beings can do that. The only life form on earth that can do that. Establish a philosophy and change your life anytime you want to. Change your income anytime you want to. Change your circumstances anytime you want to. Change location anytime you want to. Change it all, do it all, go any direction. Only humans can do that of all life forms on earth. Now, what's important is to develop the ability to use all of these possibilities here to develop a more refined philosophy that will help you to order your life, pick up the values that you want, go for the treasures that are important to you. Philosophy. How important? Now, if you were to have asked me at age 25, if you would have met me at age 25 and you would have said to me, Jim Rohn, how come you find yourself living in America here and yet you're in such an unfortunate position? Pennies in your pocket after working 6 years? Nothing in the bank, behind on your big mouth promises to your family? You live in America, you've been to at least 1 year of college. Wouldn't you legitimately have said to me, what's wrong here? If you would have asked me that question at age 25, it would never have occurred to me to blame my philosophy. That would never have occurred to me. I didn't know. And if you would have said, Jim Rohn, how come you find yourself in an unfortunate position here at age 25, embarrassed? I had more of a tendency to blame the government. It's those Democrats. I found that easier to blame than my philosophy. I used to blame interest rates. I used to blame taxes. I used to say taxes are too what? High. Guess what the top tax rate was when I first started paying taxes? 91%. Top federal tax rate. Now the top federal tax rate is what? About 33%. But people are still saying what? Taxes are too. See, that old dog won't hunt, we say in Mississippi. How can you use that excuse? If the tax rate's gone from 91% down to 33, it can't be taxes. Why you find yourself in an unfortunate position. So I used to blame interest rates. I used to blame prices. I used to say things cost too much. You must be familiar with this old list. I used to blame the weather. I used to blame the traffic. I used to blame the company policy. I used to say, if this is all they pay, how do they expect you to do well by your family and save for the future and become financially independent? If this is all they pay, That's what I thought was wrong with my life at age 25, all this stuff out there. Then I found out that that was not it. Here's what I found out. All the stuff that I used to blame, we call the wind. Wind. And it is true, we all need a wind to take us somewhere, but here's where we want to finally arrive. We finally want to arrive where we've got treasures, and we've got values, and we've got productivity, and we've got success, we've got lifestyle, equities of all kinds, whatever makes life unique and worthwhile. Here's where we want to arrive. Now, we've got a pretty good wind blowing in America, probably the best wind that's ever blown in 6,500 years of recorded history. I mean, it can't blow much better than it blows here. You say, well, then how come this wind is not blowing me to a good place? Well, you can't depend just on the wind. Here's what makes the difference, the set of the sail. And you got to make that little note. The same wind blows on us all. The difference is the set of the sail. And that's what I want to share with you today, the set of the new sail. That's what the sermon is for on Sunday morning. Help you set a better sail. That's what books are for. That's what learning is for. That's what school is for. So that this wind doesn't just blow you on the rocks, doesn't just blow you on the beach. It's true, some people do so little constructive thinking, they don't even have their sail up. So you can imagine where they're going to wind up what? It's called disaster. But I'm telling you, if you do just a little constructive thinking, let your mind go to work on ideas and information, refine your philosophy and set a better sail, I'm telling you, you can get so good at this that after a while you could care less about the wind that blows. It will not frighten you anymore. Because now you've got the information. Now you've got a refined philosophy that's given you a firm footing, that's given you something to put up this sail so that regardless of the wind that blows, it takes you exactly where you want to go, where you want to arrive. And that's what made the difference for me. The set of the sail, the thinking process, the ability to come up with ideas and information. Make your life unique and worthwhile. Now, what is philosophy? I've been teaching kids for the last 18, 19 years how to be rich by 40. In fact, I'm coming out with a new book. My fourth book will probably be ready early next year, and I think the title is going to be, Of Course Kids Should Pay Taxes. It's going to be a good book. You're going to like it. Right? In California, kids do pay taxes. So the big debate here is, should they? That's a good question. Should they? If an 8-year-old walks into 7-Eleven and buys something that costs $1, the proprietor now asks the child for, what, 7 more pennies. Kid says, what's the 7 pennies for? Proprietor says, well, that's the taxes. And the kid says, well, I'm only 8 years old. Proprietor says, congratulations, you're my youngest taxpayer. Give me the money. So in California, kids do pay taxes. Now the question is, in the debate, should they? And my book answers that. Of course, kids should pay taxes. If you want to ride your bicycle on the sidewalk instead of in the mud, you have to pay 7 pennies. So what? Everybody has to pay. That's the ultimate part. Everybody has to pay. To keep tyranny over there instead of over here, you got to pay. Aircraft carriers are expensive. How much do you think they cost? We can't use used missiles. It's expensive, so everybody has to pay, including kids. So the debate is, should kids pay taxes? My book answers that. Yes, of course, kids should pay taxes. Now, I've been teaching kids how to be rich by 40. If you start as a teenager, simple, rich by 40. 35 if you're extra bright. And most kids think they're extra bright, so they go for 35. Or much sooner if you find a unique opportunity. I was a millionaire by 31, so you don't have to wait till 35 if you find a unique opportunity. Now, when I talk to kids about how to be rich and powerful, sophisticated and healthy and influential, once I get them sold on it, they say, okay, Mr. Owen, I'm ready. How do I do that? Here's what I tell them. It starts with your philosophy. So now what do they ask me? What is philosophy? I mean, you know, that's a pretty big word, right, for some kids. So let me give you my definition of philosophy that I give to my teenage friends. I figure if I can break it down so they can understand it easier, I can understand it easier. Here's what our philosophy is. Number one, the sum total of all that we know. You just add up all you know. That's what helps to build your philosophy. And then here's number two. It's not just what you know, it's what you decide is valuable. Because you can't do all you know. If you know 1,000 things, you can't do 1,000. So what do you have to do? You gather up the 1,000 ideas, then you got to sort through them. And do what? Decide which ones are valuable. If it's not valuable, hey, you don't waste your money. If it's not valuable, hey, you don't waste your time. But if it is valuable,